What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Woodward Bets is here on a Monday afternoon. I'm back in the house, a little softball vacation, you'll say, but Scott held down the fort along with some Beastie last week, so thank you to both of you guys. But back here, captaining the ship here on this Monday, Scott. Lots to talk about. Week 5, almost behind us. We have most of the games, of course, we have Colts and Ravens, which we'll break down tonight. Baseball playoffs still in full swing. But Scott, how was week 5? A lot of injuries for us to go through here. So we're certainly going to get to that. But let me bring you in here. How we doing, my man?
Doing good. Had a pretty good weekend, I'd say, overall. Saturday was really nice to me for betting wise, I should say. I actually hit my lottery ticket parlay, so to speak, my 5-teamer that came through for me. And then, of course, I had played them all straight up, so couldn't complain about that. That was a good thing, good, nice little hit for me. But yeah, it's always fun to sit around the weekend. Man, the weather here in Michigan has just been fabulous the last few days. And it's really nice just to get outside, get to suck in the football weather going on. I mean, it's just perfect. The leaves are falling. Can't complain.
Yeah, we got 85 degrees here in Michigan. So in October, this is rare. So I'm with you. We want to get outside. So as soon as we knock this out, I'm back outside. But again, welcome into the show. Thank you for watching. Make sure you head over and follow our Twitter account at Woodward Bets. We are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you guys go and check out Underdog Fantasy and use promo code WSN when you go over there. And what we're going to do, we're going to give you $10 free on a $10 deposit. Tons of different best ball drafts, NFL, weekly drafts. They'll restart drafts like starting now to the end of the year. There's also NBA, MLB. I mean, tons of stuff from $1 up to the high stakes. So go and download the app in the Apple Store, in the Google Play Store. I promise you're going to love it. A lot of fun, a lot of different games to play. And again, who doesn't love free money, Scott? Promo code WSN, a great way to help out the sponsor here of the show. So I want to say thank you to them as well. So, Scott, let's get into the meat of things here. Just kind of recapping what we saw this last weekend. Again, a lot of injuries. We're going to go through them one by one here in a minute, but just kind of a general synopsis here of the weekend. We had big games, by guys like Tom Brady and his pass catchers. Derrick Henry goes nuts, of course. We saw Buffalo, very impressive last night. So, thoughts on the weekend? Anything you saw that surprised you? Again, we'll talk the injuries and things like that, but just kind of overall thoughts here on the Week 5 slate.
It was kind of fun watching all these games. I had to chuckle at your beloved team, the Packers and the Bengals there. I mean, man, neither one of them could kick a field goal there at the end. That was kind of I don't know how many would they hit the upright 2 or 3 times out of the 5 or
yeah, Cincinnati. Yeah, Cincinnati hits the upright, and it reminded me of the game Mason Crosby back. I believe it was in Detroit years ago, where he just missed. It was the same kind of feeling here. Misses, I believe, 3 field goals. So neither team wanted to win. I'm just glad we came out ahead, and he finally nailed one there at the end. But you talk about a heart attack, and I'm kind of preaching to the choir here. The Lions fans out there are saying, shut the hell up. We just lost to another field goal. You got to be kidding me. So, yeah, we got away with it. Unfortunately, the local team did not. Suffers another tough loss there in Minnesota.
Well, I mean, hey, good teams find ways to win, and obviously the Packers are a good team. But, I mean, damn, the Lions have lost 2 games on 120 yards worth of field goals. I mean, that's just kind of brutal. But I saw that coming. I mean, there was 30-some seconds left, and I was actually hanging around, like I said, in the garage watching the game, got a TV out there, and a couple of the people who were with me were cheering that they were going to win. And I was like, hold on. We've seen this song and dance many times. But, yeah, I kind of got a chuckle. And then, I mean, there was some other good games out there. I thought that, like you mentioned, Buffalo and Kansas City game, that was kind of entertaining. Looks like the NFL salary cap is kind of caught up a little bit with the Chiefs having to pay Mahomes. I know they couldn't sign a few of the guys that they used to have there. And then looks like this 2-deep Tampa defense that was used on them. Looks like everybody's kind of buying into that. It's like one of those things in the NFL, copycat type league. So, man, just kind of interesting to see the Chiefs kind of falling. Like you said, there was some injuries. I mean, all in all, it was pretty fun. Like I said, I had some pretty good lineups going, so it's always fun when you're sitting there sweating out a couple guys. My guy that I'm a little disappointed to, which I'm sure will be on my KMA list on Wednesday, was Chenault for the Jags. I don't know if he got himself in some trouble with Urban or told Urban he sucked or something. I don't know because he seemed to be in a doghouse there. But man, like I said, week 5 of football, fun times. Weather was great. I had fun sitting outside. Had some friends over. It was a lot of fun. So can't complain. I actually made it over to the pregame show too, Chris. We're over there at O'Toole's was a lot of fun, hanging out with Ryan and Mads and Braylon and the Riff crew and everybody else. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, after the show yesterday, kind of made it around. Kind of on the way home, stopped in and got to see everybody, said hi, and then got home in time. There was about middle of the first quarter. So all in all, good times. Can't complain whenever you're in the green for sure. That's was good times. My bets fared okay. I didn't hit any big parlays or anything like Saturday, but it was still fun.
Now, did you share said parlay on the show on Saturday? I didn't get it. I didn't get a chance to watch it back. It was quite the hectic weekend for me. But did you give this out to the people? Like, did anyone else share
I,
in this parlay, or
you
you
know,
just come up with this on your own after the show?
well, I did I did come up with it the whole total parlay after the show, but it was all the games that I had give out. My best bet of the day was the Eastern Eagles at home getting a point and a half on their homecoming. They actually squeaked one out 13-12, so that worked out pretty well. I think we talked about the Mississippi game with Arkansas going over. We talked a little bit about that, which worked out pretty well. I talked about UCLA. I think I had UCLA in there, worked out well. Actually had Iowa squeaked one out there against Penn State. That I actually thought I was going to lose that one, to tell you the truth. And as the day went on, it got closer and closer. And I thought, well, maybe Penn State's going to find a way to lose this one here. Sure enough, they did. So squeaked it out with the half-point victory there. But they all count the same. But it was a good time. But yeah, if you want to listen to the Saturday college football show that we did, we broke it down, all the top 25 games, and broke that all down and gave out some winners there. Worked out well. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome, man. Love to hit the parlays. You know, they're not always plus EV, but they are a lot of fun. You know, more recreational. And when you hit them, though, you set yourself up for success. Very much like GPPs in DFS. It's kind of the same feeling. Like, you probably, cash games is a way to grind out a profit, but those big scores, it's a lot more fun that way. So glad you hit that. Of course, the local teams both covered their spreads as well. So if you're on Michigan State, you were on Michigan, they both got it done. So outside of the Lions, pretty solid weekend here for the local team. So
you know what, Chris? I do got to mention, I had a buddy come over, watched our show, signed up on Underdog with his free $10, and he turned his $10 into $110. He made a 5-team player parlay. I was getting text as it was going through. He was all excited, and he doesn't normally bet or gamble. So for him to win, I would assume if he played more times than not, he probably wouldn't even bet $10, maybe a dollar or so. So when he got that free $10, I was pretty happy for him. It was pretty fun. He made the picks on his own, though, so I'll give him that. But he made good use of that $10 that he got. So that was pretty cool to see. I like seeing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome. So again, why not take advantage of that offer? Again, the promo code right there on the screen, WSN, $10 free. Again, there's something for everybody. It's very easy to use. The mobile app very slick, very user-friendly. So go and check them out, man. I love Underdog. So I'm not going to promote a product that I don't use personally. Scott, you feel the same way. I think we're both pretty excited about this partnership. So go and support the show, support the sponsor, promo code WSN for that free $10. So, Scott, you want to review one of your lineups from this weekend? We were kind of talking back and forth, and you looked like you had – I mean, this week you needed about 1 million points to take anything down. I think some of the on DraftKings, it was like 260 points. It's one of the highest scores I've ever seen. But I'm pretty sure you put like a 160-something on the board on FanDuel, which most weeks, that's strong score. So I want to walk through this lineup real quick, kind of give your thought process. It's always very valuable to look back, not only your own lineups, other people's. Look at these top lineups and kind of re-engineer them, reverse engineer them. See how they were built, why they were built, what are the correlations in the lineup? Why were certain decisions to be made? What are the ownership levels on these players? There's so much free information out there that people just leave on the table. If you play in a tournament, you have access to everybody's lineup that was in that tournament. Professional players, everybody's lineup is right there at your fingertips. So use that to your advantage and break it down. So, Scott, let's take a look at your big lineup from here this last weekend and kind of your thought process behind it.
Yeah, so just kind of looking at my lineup here, obviously I had to make a late adjustment as we were talking. And I mean, if you're going to play some serious DFS, whether no matter what sport it is, and NBA is by far the most important to pay attention, especially as it gets through lock and as the slate moves on, just because you got injuries that pop up. Yesterday, we get that news right there before the game started that Dalvin Cook was going to be inactive. And then all of a sudden, Madison pops up on all the projections, and he's up in the top handful of running backs for the week. So at that price, very hard to shy away from him. So I had to hurry up, make an adjustment. I did have Leonard Fournette in there instead of Madison at the time. So ended up switching to Madison. Had to play Henry. Henry and Adams were my two guys that I felt like I had to have. I mean, the amount of work that Henry's getting, I just don't see how you can fade the guy. I mean, he's just been unbelievable. I want to say he's 30 or 40 carries ahead of the second place guy when I was digging into some stuff today. So, and then Adams with that target share is just huge. So I actually like this Cincinnati and Green Bay game. So I went with Joe Burrow, got the little bit of discount there with the quarterback. And then I paired up Boyd and Chase. Chase worked out well. A little disappointed when Higgins came in. I thought Boyd actually would get a little bit more run in the three receiver sets, which the 4 catches he had, he actually missed. He had a couple touchdown opportunities, which he didn't take advantage of. So I knew that was kind of my reach. But then, to kind of correlate with the team, like I said, so I did have, I have the 2 receivers there from Cincinnati, and then I have Adams on the other side with Burrow. So obviously, that's a little bit of a game stack. I was looking at Dwelly, so I knew that Ricky Seals-Jones was going to be pretty popular for Washington, filling in for Thomas. So I thought, why not go with Dwelly, who's filling in for Kittle? Kind of hoped that game they were going to be behind. I thought Lance might be in a position where he might have to dump it off quite a bit. So I bought into that play. I thought that actually was going to be a good play, but those are the type moves and thought processes as you're building lineups that kind of get you ahead. Because I didn't think Dwelly was going to be really that popular, so just kind of went that way. And then Williams, I really liked him for his price. And then with the money I had left, I had the Vikings there, and I just thought, man, the Lions have shown that Goff's going to turn the ball over. So kind of like that. I like usually taking home teams that paired perfectly with my running back as well. So I generally like the running back and then the defenses paired together. So as you can see, I had some correlation there with my lineup, kind of stuck in a few other guys. But, yeah, I mean, that's basically breaking it all down there for you. But, I know a lot of times you like to do the same type thing, correlate running backs, defenses, and then generally pick a game stack. Maybe sometime have a running back from a team you think may be ahead, like Henry. And then on some of my other teams, I actually bounced it back with Chenault. I thought he'd be a good play, get possibly some deep balls. But, yeah, generally I like to kind of correlate my players together.
Yeah, for sure. And don't just, you had the Burrow, you had, Boyd and Chase in there, which I love the double stack. You bring it back with Adams and then go for more correlation. Like you said, you have Derrick Henry. Think about the other side. And you don't always have to do it. But, hey, if Derrick Henry's going nuts, the other side is going to be forced to throw the ball. So the Chenault play, solid. Unfortunately, didn't get it done. And even Marvin Jones, it looked like former Lion Agnew was the guy that led the way in target share, surprisingly there. But it ended up being Trevor Lawrence having a decent game with some touchdowns on the ground. But working in secondary correlations as well. So not just blindly plugging in the best projections, blindly plugging in a guy from a game. Try to make it make sense where, if this happens, then this is going to happen. So You did a lot of that. The Dwelly was a good call. You're pivoting off a popular tight end, getting some leverage on the field. Unfortunately, Dwelly, a guy who we've seen have decent games without George Kittle, just didn't get it done this week. So a solid lineup there, no doubt. But do we have the screenshot of the millionaire winning lineup? I have it in front of me. If not, the Captain Insano. First of all, what a great name. It was an Adam Sandler movie, right, Scott? I know it was the wrestler, The Big Show,
Yeah.
Captain Insano.
Yeah.
Was it Billy Madison, right? Was that the movie?
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah. I'm not the best at
Captain
movie trivia, but I am
Insano.
kind of familiar with that.
Yeah, I
But that
believe it
is a
was The
pretty cool
Big
name.
Show. Yeah, so
I do
but
get a kick out of some of these guys' names. It's funny. Some of these people are really creative. It's great.
for sure. So the beauty of this was he didn't just win this tournament. He cleared the field by 10.5 points, in a 300,000, however many people are, 553,000 person field to win a tournament by over 10 points. It's pretty impressive here. So obviously you had to have this Chargers Cleveland game. I mean, that game just was amazing to watch. Back and forth, back and forth. I mean, whoever had the ball last clearly was going to win because each team was going to score every time they had the ball. So as you can see, some of the stuff that we talked about plays out in this lineup. The double stack of Herbert. Now he went with Eckler. A lot of people anti-stacking with their running backs. A guy like Eckler, we know A is going to catch passes, so matches up very well with a quarterback. And B, when an offense has a big game, you're capturing all the touchdowns. I mean, the quarterback and the running back are going to be involved in every single touchdown. So huge game out of Herbert, almost 400 yards there in that lineup. Eckler goes for 30-some points. Mike Williams, fantastic play this week, Scott. And it's one of those, I love the plays where a guy burned everybody the week before. Everybody played him. Mike Williams had been on a roll. He literally did nothing last week. Come back this week, puts 165 and 2 on the board. The biggest thing to notice was the ownership here, and it doesn't show it on the screen. 3.9% owned Mike Williams was in this tournament. So, again, Justin Herbert, 3% owned in the slot. Tony Pollard, kind of a scary play with Zeke playing so well, but ended up getting 14 carries there. He's 4% owned. It allowed him to eat the chalk on Devontae Adams, and it's a good lesson that you don't have to avoid every high-end play. If you're going to play an Adams, a Henry, guys you mentioned, Scott, that felt like must plays, and I agree with you. You want to find some different lineups to go with that. You don't want to go along with some of the other chalk, then your lineup looks like everybody else is out there. So to find a 4% Mike Williams, a 3% Herbert, 4% Pollard. He had Hunter Henry at under 4% at a big game against Houston. The crazy double stack of 2 Tampa Bay receivers here and picking the right two, Antonio Brown and Mike Evans, and leaving Godwin off. I had a lot of Tom Brady double stacks. Unfortunately, they usually had Evans and Godwin or Brown and Godwin. I didn't get the match of these two, but to have both of those guys in the lineup, and then, of course, the correlation with Pollard in the Dallas defense. So, Scott, this is one hell of a lineup here. I mean, he hit on some lone guys. The lineup's correlated like we talked about. He went back to guys that didn't do well the week before. He really checked all the boxes here. But to run away with this thing and win it by 10, this is a well-earned $1 million lineup here for Captain Insano.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, literally, he had 3 type correlation plays there. If you look at his team, I mean, he had that stack there with the Chargers, what worked out well. He had the 2 receivers there. That team went off. So he literally had all the pieces of the 2 highest scoring offenses for the day. And then, he took a chance. He was uncomfortable with Pollard. He probably built that team and thought, if I can get, 10 or 12 points out of Pollard, which he did, he's going to be in great shape. And all his studs, horses went off for him. And if you notice, he won that without Derrick Henry. I mean,
right.
Everybody else's lineups, we're pretty much with Derrick Henry. So, sometimes I think with football, it's not like baseball. If a guy hits 2 or 3 homers, like a Judge or a Stanton, I mean, they're going to be you got to almost pretty much have those guys in your lineup, especially on a shorter type slate. Well, football, there's generally 10, 12 games, and you can find there's ways of building lineups most times when you do have, especially when there's a chalky guy like Henry was. I mean, he mean, he didn't go off for 450 some points, but he still had a great game. So, yeah, good to, man, that was a hell of a lineup. But like we said, I mean, just perfect example of three different correlation plays he had in his lineup, things we like to talk about. So, yeah, just a little bit of a lesson there. I mean, that was something that took a lot of people many, many years to figure out, what to do building DFS lineups. And, for now, for us here 10 years later, I know you and I spent a lot of time and a lot of money trying to figure that out. So, pretty happy to share it here with the people and give everybody a little head start. And something I always do like to mention, players like myself, players like Chris, we're limited on FanDuel. I can't play anything less than $3. So, if you get in there and you want to avoid all of the so-called shark top 1%ers, we're all limited on FanDuel. We can't play anything less than $3. So don't be afraid to get on in there, maybe multi-enter, play a little bit of extra tournaments, get in there with some cash games because, like I said, we're not able to get in that in those type contests.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to kind of get your feet wet. It doesn't cost you a ton of money. You can still educate yourself, start to build lineup. I mean, there's nothing more fun than building these lineups throughout the week. And you always have that feeling, all right, this is the week. This is the $1 million week. So it never gets old. That's the thing. Like the drafting part of it and putting these lineups together and thinking about the correlations, thinking about what the field's going to do. It's really an advanced game. A lot of game theory goes into this. So it's always a new puzzle to be solved. And, each season long, unfortunately, a little bit different, but let's transition into some of the injuries for the week. Because, Scott, we're getting into that time of the year now where we not only have injuries, but we also are going to be coming up against bye weeks here starting this week. So things are going to get very interesting. Join us tomorrow. We will do our weekly waiver wire show and kind of navigate through all of these injuries, who are the best pickups for the week. So make sure you join us tomorrow for that. Wednesday, of course, our KMA segment. So if there's anybody that burns you out there, we want to hear about it. Let us know at Woodward Bets on Twitter. And then Friday is always our sit, start, and trade segment. So if you have any of those, you're stuck on who to start, we all go through it. We are here to help you in that department as well. But, Scott, let's take a look at some of these injuries here, highlighted by pretty much the New York Giants offense. That's where we're going to go here to start. They're already down Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton. Well, now we add Saquon Barkley to the list. Ankle injury there. Didn't look too bad. I watched it. Looked bad, was ruled out immediately. So clearly something going on there, but doesn't sound like it's going to be too long in term injury for him. Kenny Golladay, a knee injury to be determined there. And Daniel Jones just got lit up. I mean, he tried to go around the corner. It probably worked for him at Duke back in the day, college. He was fast enough to do that. NFL, they closed it real quick on him. He hits the turf hard and comes up seeing stars. So we'll see if he's able to play next week. But
he almost tripped over his own feet after that play. If you saw that, that was kind of scary. I thought, oh boy, they better help the guy. I mean, man, talk about leaving him all alone. I mean, the dude just got railed and he's trying to walk. And I don't even know if he knew where he was, but that was pretty scary.
Yeah, for sure. So Giants going to be down some players there as far as who came into the backfield. It was Devontae Booker. It was guys like Elijah Penny. So we'll discuss more about those guys tomorrow. Juju Smith-Schuster, this one looks like a little bit more long-term. In fact, looks like he's going to miss the rest of the 2021 season. Quintez Cephas, the same. A guy I really liked, not only because he was from Wisconsin, loved watching him in college, but really felt like he was coming on each and every week. So it looks like he may be done for the year. Curtis Samuel continues to battle injuries throughout his career, now dealing with a groin issue. Joe Burrow, we saw taken to the hospital after that game with a throat contusion, was released today. Sounds like he'll be fine. And then, of course, Taysom Hill, another concussion there at the quarterback position. No surprise. The way that guy runs, Scott, it does not shock me that he's dealing with concussions. So Jameis looked pretty good. Saints, big win on the road in Washington. So obviously the Giants, a big one we're going to have to monitor throughout the week. Juju Smith-Schuster, that's going to open things up for Deontay Johnson, for Chase Claypool, who we saw have a big game yesterday, and even more targets now for a guy like Najee Harris. And then Cephas, we'll see. Now it's Khalif Raymond and some of these other guys, Kadero Hodge. I mean, it's really getting ugly at that receiver position for the Detroit Lions. So thoughts on these injuries, Scott? Any ones that we maybe missed on our list here? And I'm sure there'll be more to come here as we work throughout the week.
Yeah, that Saquon injury was kind of disappointing for me. I usually build three teams every week, and one of my teams I had a stack of that game, and I had Prescott, Barkley, Lamb. Had some bits and pieces earlier, and I thought I was in pretty good shape. And then when Barkley went out early, I actually was, I thought I was trying to do the right thing around the house, keep the good mojo going. Like I said, I was out in the garage, and then the lady of the house decided she was going to start cutting the grass, which she's good at. She likes to get out there and do it. And I thought, I'm going to help out, start weed whipping. I go back in and look, and Barkley is out of the game. And I thought, come on, that was some good mojo here. Why do I got to, suffer this here? But that's the way it goes. Sometimes you can't predict the injuries. But my season-long team, though, definitely, I got a couple of shares of Juju in some spots. So just another guy that I got to go out there and replace on the waiver wire tomorrow. So definitely we'll be scouring those waiver wires and everything, which we'll be able to bring to everybody tomorrow. But, yeah, we got buys starting this week. We got everything else. So that waiver wire is going to start getting really thin here coming up. That's for sure with, guys stashing guys. There might be some guys that are going to have to get released here that somebody might have been stashing. But sure will be interesting here coming into the next week or two as we move into these bye weeks.
Yeah, and we've talked about this. Hopefully people were looking ahead and planning for this, because then you're a step ahead, gobbling up backup running backs and things like that. Obviously, we can't predict injuries, but to try to be a step ahead, looking ahead, and like you mentioned, there's going to be guys that get released that you'll be like, wow, good teams are going to have to make some tough decisions to replace a Saquon Barkley, things like that, if he doesn't go on IR. So I know I've had many leagues where you have to make the move. There's nobody you want to cut. So there may be somebody that hits the wire that can drastically improve your team. So make sure you're on the lookout for that. And again, we will cover this in depth tomorrow on the show, looking at each and every position and who we think will be available in the majority of leagues. So let's transition and take a look at tonight's game, Scott. An interesting one. Colts and Ravens here. Baltimore -7 here at home. Kind of a middling total here at 46.5. A lot of money coming in on Baltimore, looks like. As of right now, 60% of the money coming in on the Ravens. So some of the trends for the game, Baltimore's last 6 home games, the over 5-1 in that scenario. Ravens 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 home games. We know they're very good at home. 6-0 at home in their last 6-0 against the spread, I should say, in their last 6 home games against a team with a losing road record, which Indy qualifies. The over 7-0 in the Colts' last 7 against the team with a winning record. The over also 4-0 for the Colts in their last 4 road games against the team with a winning record. So some of the trends here on this game, Scott. Let's talk about the game. Let's break things down. We're going to look at a DFS lineup as well, look at some captain plays for you, and then we'll finish up with our best bets. So how do you see this one playing out? Any fantasy guys you want to target here? The floor is yours. Colts and Ravens should be a fun game.
Yeah, that spread 7 there. I actually, I got a slight lean toward the Colts, actually. I just think everybody's going to be on the Ravens. I'm going against everybody, the public. I got a feeling here that the Colts may be able to keep it close. I'm not sure if they're going to win the game, but I'm willing to take that touchdown. I'm a little scared, though. I mean, the Colts have lost a couple guys on their offensive line here recently for Wentz, who we already know is struggling a little bit with his ankles. But, Baltimore's been really stingy defensively. I mean, they don't give up many points to the defense. To the quarterback. Not really. They don't give up really much points to running backs, but they do give up quite a few receiving yards to running back, which I noticed. So, maybe guys like Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines tonight might be interesting. I'm not sure if, with Marlon Mack in there, I think I'm not sure they're going to really use him. That's going to be interesting to see there. But as far as the passing game tonight, I think Wentz pretty much just, he uses Pittman quite a bit, but other than that, he does spread it out, differently to Pascal Hines, Doyle, those kind of guys. I do know he likes Pittman. He's getting like 26% of the target shares or somewhere around there. I was checking out earlier, but man, it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be, like I said, a close game. I'm going to guess like in the 20s. If I had to lean anywhere, I'd probably lean maybe a little bit on the under. I think that one's a tougher call. I think I'd rather have the Colts if anything. Maybe even possibly dipping it up if it gets higher than that 7. But yeah, I think as far as any kind of captains, to be honest, and whenever Lamar Jackson's playing a game like this, I mean, to me, I think I just got to have to lock Lamar as captain and try to get different other places and maybe leave some money on the table, some salary on the table that people are generally uncomfortable with. So I think that's going to be the route I take tonight. I mean, Lamar Jackson is just he's Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's so much of that offense. I don't see any pass that will get you to the top without Lamar in the captain spot.
Yeah, especially on FanDuel. DraftKings is a different animal. You're I don't want to say penalized, but you're paying a premium for that captain. You're getting the 1.5 points, but you're also paying 1.5 to salary. FanDuel doesn't have that same salary penalty. So FanDuel, you're looking for the highest raw scorer. You're putting him in that spot, and then you're trying to get different, whether it's leaving money on the table, trying to find one of those 5-6K guys that no one's going to have, things like that. So FanDuel, a little bit tougher to get different. Where DraftKings, you really got to factor in, are there cheap guys that I like? And I think we have some options here tonight. So I think there's a lot of ways you can go at that captain spot on DraftKings. Never going to disagree with Lamar Jackson. But, guys like obviously Hollywood Brown has been solid. Now, he's priced up. I think that works in our favor, though, where a lot of people may say he's too expensive. I don't want to spend that. The guy I really like for a captain tonight, actually, I was hoping Rashad Bateman would make his debut. It's just $200 on DraftKings. Looks like he's not going to play tonight. So initially, that was my thought. But Sammy Watkins, Scott, is a guy, I know it's a laughing stock, a guy that we've written off, and he's not doing anything. He's seen 7 or more targets in every single game this season. So I think there's some value in Sammy Watkins here. I think there's some value in the betting markets as well. I like the over on some of his receiving props out there. They seem a little bit too low. This guy's crossed 44 yards in every single game as well. And the prop sits right in that same area. I'll pull up the exact number here. But Sammy Watkins, a guy I really like tonight. As far as a bet, I'm with you on the under. I think Baltimore controls this game. We know they're going to run the ball with Lamar, with Latavius, with whoever else they want to mix in here. That's going to kill clock. If the Colts have it their way, they want to run the ball as well. So you get 2 teams that run the ball, that's going to chew up clock. That could slow the game down. Maybe not as many explosive plays here. Or Baltimore maybe gets ahead and they can salt this game away. I don't know how competitive the Colts are going to be. I'm with you. If I had to take a spread bet, I'd probably take the Colts and the points, but feel pretty good about the under here. So I'm going to make that my best bet here. Looks like it's at 46.5 at most shops. So if you can find a 47, obviously, get that. But under to me, and the Colts, 9-1, Scott. I found some more trends here in unders in their last 10 games against Baltimore. So pretty good history there. 90% win rate on this under when the Colts and Ravens meet up.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, the more you were talking here about Sammy Watkins, I kind of was looking at targets, and Sammy Watkins has out-targeted Marquise Brown so far, 29-28. So that's interesting that Sammy just isn't getting the coverage and the write-ups, and not the focus, I should say, on himself. So definitely like Sammy. I like that call. That running back situation here for Baltimore, maybe we could talk about for a minute. I don't know how you feel, because I know Latavius Murray got 63% of the snaps and most of the touches for Baltimore, but We got Le'Veon Bell, Tyson Williams was like we talked about last week. Got a lot. It was a healthy scratch and got dumped in a lot of leagues. You got Devontae Freeman. So really interesting there. It's so hard to pick out one of these running backs, but they have allowed a rushing touchdown every game so far this year. So you pretty much got to assume one of these guys are going to fall in the end zone tonight. I mean, whether it be Murray or Bell or Freeman, I think if you go to a guy like Bell, I think you may get him fairly low owned. I'm not saying he's going to get a lion's share of these carries. It looks like Murray's getting them, but I think that's interesting, especially if we feel as if Baltimore could control the game, kind of keep it close. Where obviously know they're going to be running the ball quite a bit. So I think that's an interesting type game theory as well. And then Andrews is interesting too. I mean, I think he's third for yards for tight ends. He's in the top of the tight ends for routes run. So that's something I do like to look at with tight ends and how many routes they're running. A lot of times they're out there running routes. Maybe they just didn't get the targets, but hey, they're out there running them routes. They're not in blocking quite a bit. So I do like to check that out. So Andrews, I think that's another sneaky guy that we might be able to bring up tonight. But yeah, I really like your call there with Sammy Watkins and his receiving props. And my best bet tonight is going to be the Colts. So I'm going to take the Colts and the points. So it looks like you and I are on the under and the Colts tonight. If you want to two-team tease that, may not be a bad thing to do either. But yeah, I think I'm going to look at the Colts and take the points tonight. Think they keep it close. I think Baltimore is going to win, but I think they keep it close.
There you go. Yeah. As far as the running back situation for Baltimore, I mean, it looks like Latavius is going to be the guy. I'm very intrigued by Tyson Williams and seeing if he's going to be activated for this game. We saw him be a surprise and active for them in that game in Denver. So we haven't seen much out of Le'Veon Bell. We haven't seen much out of Devontae Freeman. To me, these guys are washed. Tyson, it's got to be pass protection that he's struggling in because he looks like the most explosive of the back. Clearly, you got three old men there. As a young cat, he looked good in preseason and looked pretty good early on when he was given opportunities. So it was a bit surprising to see him as a scratch. So just something to keep in mind. If he's active, maybe he was in the doghouse last week. Maybe something was going on. Maybe they were just penalizing him for something else. But don't forget about him as an option here as well. Again, Latavius is the easy one. More excited about him on FanDuel. Baltimore generally doesn't target their receivers a ton. So you're kind of losing that PPR upside on DraftKings. But I'm checking the price on Tyson here while I talk. So he's only $1,800, Scott. So to me, that's the way you want to jam in Lamar, captain. You want to spend up on Hollywood Brown, Jonathan Taylor. I think if he's active, which again, he may not be active. We'll see when that comes out here shortly, the inactive list. But he's one to keep an eye on for sure. So trying to find this prop for Sammy Watkins. I want to say it's over 40.5 on the receiving line, which again, 44 has been his lowest output so far this season. So definitely a fan of that one. I'm going to add that to my best bets here as well. Yeah, 40.5 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. So that one, it feels like a ton of value. That's I don't know why it's so low here. The Colts, against receivers, it's not like they're giving up a ton of fantasy points, but they're not one of the better teams in the league either. Let me check. Let's see. They're a middling team against receivers. Actually, they're towards the top of points allowed. So kind of what I thought there initially. So Watkins, value there for sure.
Yeah, I was just looking here too. I actually want to make sure I got the line right. Jonathan Taylor's plus 120 for anytime touchdown score tonight. So I looked at that. I think I actually sent you a little parlay I did today. I got the Braves -1 and I have over a half a run. So JD Martinez got to score a run tonight. I think that game's going to be a softball game in that baseball game. I know we haven't really talked too much baseball today, but I think that game's going to be pretty high scoring tonight at 7:00. So I got JD to score a run, and then I got Jonathan Taylor to score a touchdown tonight. So all of them are on the plus money. So if you wanted to throw in those two, maybe with Jonathan Taylor scoring, maybe throw in one of our underplays, or maybe that Sammy Watkins might be a nice little start to a nice little parlay for you.
Yeah, another bet that's always a lot of fun is first touchdown scored. Those are fun. You get some good odds on it. They can be difficult to hit, but a few guys I've mentioned Sammy, so I'm going to go there plus 1100 on FanDuel. So basically, if you're not sure what that means, you're getting 11 to 1 odds. So whatever you bet, multiply it by 11. That's going to be your winnings plus your initial investment back. Another guy on the other side, we talked about Michael Pittman plus 1300 on FanDuel. So there you're getting 13 times your investment on him. So those two guys I like as first touchdown scores. Anyone stand out here? Maybe some deeper odds. I know a guy like Mo Alley Cox, 2 touchdowns last week. He's plus 2,800. So these are fun little long shot bets. I generally don't want to go crazy with them, but I try to work one or two of them in each of these primetime games, especially.
Yeah, hey, these island type games this week. I mean, hey, we had a lot of primetime players on some of these island games that we like to do our showdown slates for and everything else. So, yeah, I think tonight's going to be a good game. I'm really looking forward to it. So hopefully, we can get in there, get us get some touchdowns. As far as the first touchdown goes, it is hard. I usually like to take at least one player on each side. And generally, I do like to go for the, eight or so one or higher. I mean, if I go for a really long shot, I may go for a guy on the other side of the ball, like, let's say I might go Lamar Jackson on Baltimore side, and then maybe on the Colts side, I may go Mo Alley Cox. It kind of try to cover myself a little bit. So generally, that's what I like to do when I'm in situations like that. But yeah, should be a really fun game to watch. I mean, Monday Night Football, it's always fun when we got one game. Can't complain. Got some playoff baseball tonight. So good night to have at least split screen on your TVs.
Yep. So I'm gonna add to my best bets. So given 4 best bets here tonight. So under in the game, over on Sammy Watkins receiving yards at 40.5. And we'll put 2 touchdown scores here. Obviously, you're not going to hit on both of these, but I like Sammy Watkins plus 1100 and Michael Pittman plus 1300 as your first touchdown scores. There's also anytime touchdown. I know Scott utilized that one a lot. So just tons of different ways to bet these games each and every night. So those are some of my best bets. Scott, quick recap on your best bets. I believe you like the Colts tonight plus the points.
Yep, I'll take the Colts plus the points, and then I'm going to go with that J.D. Martinez to score a run at a half a run plus 130, and then Jonathan Taylor anytime touchdown scorer at plus 120. So those are my I'll give out 3 today.
All right, there you go. Let's hit on baseball real quick before we get out of here. We have Rays and Red Sox tonight. We also have Giants and Dodgers. Boston, surprisingly, leading that series 2-1. I thought Tampa Bay would put them away. So do or die here for Tampa. Giants and Dodgers tied up at 1-1. So quick thoughts on these games, Scott, before we wrap it up for Monday.
Yeah, always fun with some playoff baseball. Obviously, we saw the Houston and White Sox game get postponed, so we lost the game today. But yeah, the Tampa's got their back against the wall. I mean, this series here has just been quite a few runs scored. I was looking into their past history here with this season, and they've just been piling up the runs on each other. Looks like Colin McHugh is going to get the ball first for Tampa. I'm going to assume Waka is going to end up coming in at some point as well, who got hit pretty hard earlier in this series. And then on the other side for the Red Sox, we got Edward Rodriguez going. He's been getting hit pretty hard, and I do like these Rays against lefties. I mean, you got Randy Arozarena, who we saw had exciting moments already so far in this series, stealing home. Wander Franco's a beast. You got Nelson Cruz, who's just a bona fide lefty killer, and then Jordan Luplow's been hitting the ball really hard. I kind of like Luplow in this spot also. And then Mike Zunino at the bottom of that lineup hits lefties really hard. And then you go over to this Boston side. So I played some DFS today. I pretty much have all these Boston and Tampa hitters lined up. And then I got Max later tonight as one of my pitchers. So yeah, I'm not a fan of really the runs being scored here in this Dodgers game. It looks like the wind's going to be blowing pretty heavy out in Dodger Stadium tonight. But this Boston-Tampa game, I do expect a softball type game. I got a slight lean on the over in the runs here, 9.5. And don't feel as good about it as maybe some of the other plays we already discussed, but really like this game. I think this game, the Boston Tampa game, is going to be really fun to watch, and I do think Tampa squeezes this one out somehow or some way.
Yeah, I think Tampa wins tonight as well. In fact, I'm confident enough to even go the run line on Tampa. So explaining that the money line is basically which team's going to win. In baseball, you also have a run line, which is -1.5. So basically, Tampa Bay winning by 2 points. You generally get some nice odds with that. I'm getting +150 with that on either DraftKings or FanDuel. So that's a bet I really like tonight. As far as the other game, don't have any strong leans. I may put a little bit on the Giants here. It looks like about +175 on the money line here. But going against Scherzer always a tough task. But pretty decent odds. In fact, +184 they're up to on FanDuel. So Giants a slight lean, but I do like that Rays -1.5. I think they take it to Boston tonight. So that will wrap us up for today's show. Again, make sure you guys head over and follow our Twitter page at Woodward Bets. Make sure you support the show by heading over to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code WSN. Let them know that we sent you. And hopefully you can be like Scott's buddy. Turn that free $10 you're going to get into 110. So again, promo code WSN, $10 deposits. They'll match that $10 absolutely free. You can put some on the games tonight. They'll have a ton of different Monday night contests, baseball contests in the lobby, and of course NBA. We're about a week away, not even, from NBA. So we'll be mixing that into the show as well once NBA season gets into full swing. I love NBA. Going to be a ton of fun this year. Betting NBA, playing DFS. So again, Underdog Fantasy, promo code WSN. Scott, final thoughts for the people here for this Monday night.
Nope, exciting times. Like you mentioned, we got NBA starting. We got hockey starting. Looks like the Red Wings got a couple nice little young studs that are going to make it up here to the team. So, man, exciting time of the year, playoff baseball. Good time for us to be here at the Woodward Bets, sharing our thoughts with all the people. I know we've been having a lot of fun, so we're going to try to add some things. And, hey, if anybody has some suggestions or anything they want to hear, we're here to help. So get on in there. And, from time to time, too, a lot of times when we're airing this show at like 6 to 7 on YouTube there, I've been over there in that chat sometimes, especially like during the free agents was closer. I was in the chat answering some questions for some of the viewers. So don't be afraid. If you see us, get on in there and fire away some questions, and we'll be glad to help you out.
Absolutely. We're here for you guys. We want this show to be what you want it to be. We want to talk about what you guys want to hear about. So please have your voice heard, have your feedback heard. You can reach out to us again on the YouTube page at Woodward Bets. Scott is at G_Rising on Twitter. And I am at Beermakers Fan, and all of those DMs open to all of you guys. Again, Wednesday will be our KMA segment. Tomorrow will be our look at the free agent pool and waiver wire pickups in your season-long leagues. We'll recap the Monday Night Football game. We'll talk some more baseball as well, and hopefully we can do a little NBA preview at some point this week. So very busy week here at Woodward Bets. Excited to be back talking some sports with my boy Scott. So for Scott, for our boy Sawyer behind the glass producing the show, I am Beer saying salute. Thank you for watching. We are Woodward Bets. We'll see you tomorrow.